Good evening and welcome back to our channel. You are invincible. I hope all of you are doing fantastic. And this month has already started, the second month of this year. Jan was fantastic. February is shaping up really well. I hope it's the same with all of you. It's only going to get better. Well, today on our channel, we have an esteemed guest who is just fantastic. She's an author, a podcaster, and she has a very exciting journey. She has written a book called Rise Up. The cover of the book is right in front of you, Awakening Through Revelation. I'd like to share a bit about her. She's none other than Suzanne Ross. Get ready for the adventure of a lifetime as Suzanne Ross, author of Rise Up, Awakening Through Revelation, takes you on an extraordinary adventure through her book. Susan has dedicated her life to bringing the higher teachings of divine enlightenment to all of humanity through inspirational books, group workshops, live events, energetic sessions, and internet television series. She's building a community in Sedona, Arizona, USA, the spiritual Mecca of North America, where spiritually inspired teachers and seekers can come together. An author, speaker, energy healer, spiritual counselor, and Sedona Mystical Tours guide, she makes time for the role of creator of Sci-Fi TV, a conscious media network with 9 channels in over 50 nations. Without further ado, I'd like to invite Susan on our channel. You are invincible.
Thank you so much for that beautiful introduction. I so appreciate it. It's truly my pleasure to be on your show today. Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Susan, for giving your time. It's a pleasure for us for having you on our show. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. And like yourself, 2021 has been off to a great start. Of course, I'm here in the beautiful Red Rock paradise of Sedona, Arizona. So here in the vortex, things are always high vibe. But in general, I really feel that this dawning age of Aquarius is bringing in really beautiful, inspiring, and empowering energies for us all.
Absolutely. And I'm sure that it's only going to get better.
Yes, we can hold that vision. And thank you for holding that vision on the other side of the world.
Exactly. Thanks to technology that we can connect through this.
Yes, isn't it amazing? I've never done an interview from India before. This is fantastic. And I just so greatly appreciate the international recognition and your willingness to have me on your show all the way from the other side of the world.
Pleasure is all ours. So if you are ready, let's have our amazing conversation get going.
Fantastic. Let's do it.
Wonderful. So I want to ask you the first question, which is related to your book. What inspired you to write Rise Up?
Thank you for asking. You know, it was about 10 years ago now that I started to get these messages from beyond, this other voice that would resonate within me and all around me. And these messages would come through with instructions, with guidance. And on a day out on a nature walk, I heard this voice come out of the sky and it said, "You're going to write a 30-day book on the evolution of consciousness." And I looked up in the sky and sort of laughed. At the time, I was a health and wellness coach, certainly not an author. And so I just said, you know, that's not possible. And the voice said, "Oh, you'll figure it out." And so here we are 10 years later, and I'm on my 3rd book now in the Up trilogy, Wake Up, Rise Up, and Lighten Up. So what I came to understand is that this 30-day book was meant to be 3 10-day books, one for the mind. My first book, Wake Up, is about liberating the mind from limiting beliefs, because Spirit guided me to write that book first, saying that it was important for people to liberate their mind from these limiting beliefs about what they've been programmed to believe, to balance karma that's been created in this and other lifetimes, to understand how to balance ego and spirit before moving on to the more metaphysical and deeply spiritual journey in Rise Up. And so I moved to Sedona in 2015, and the second book, Rise Up, just started to flow through me. I would sit in my front yard facing the sun. I've always felt since a child that there was divine consciousness coming through the portal of the sun. And when I sit in the sun, I get my most powerful downloads. And so I became to understand that I was doing automatic writing. And I even started to channel. As I started to channel the book through, I used voice recognition software because in these trance states, you know, and you're bringing through the information, somebody needs to be typing it.
Right.
And
Right.
so much of the book came through this process of channeling.
Wow, that's beautiful. I mean, it's amazing to be in front, like in front of the sun, and getting the downloads. That's so mystic if you see that your inspiration has somehow come from nature itself, which is beautiful. The higher consciousness, yes, but also the nature somewhere was like a catalyst for you to start writing. And it's been 10 years. That's amazing. So this is your third book.
Rise Up is my second book, and Lighten Up is coming out this year. And so it's a book for the mind. Rise Up is for the spirit,
Mm-hmm.
and Lighten Up is for the body.
Right.
Lighten Up is activating the light body. But yes, Rise
Wow.
Up, Awakening Through Revelation is a 10-day adventure. And so I call it 10 days
Right.
on the Ascension Path, where we go to sacred sites around the world.
That's beautiful, beautiful. I hope that the viewers who are right now watching you, they'll be able to grab a copy of your book because it's amazingly written. I mean, there's so much of simplicity in it, and so directly you have shared of how we can rise up in our daily life. It's so pragmatic. A book, it's not like, rocket science where when you start reading, so things start to go above your head, but you have explained and shared in such a beautiful manner is just amazing.
Aw, thank you.
Thank you, Susan. So we'll go to the next question. How would you say your journey has been in connecting with your higher self?
So I started my journey really when I had what I call a divine intervention on a mountaintop in Southern California. I had been transferred to the East Coast for work and had a very stressful job in the corporate world, and was starting to experience many physical and mental ailments. I was having anxiety attacks, and I was suffering from eczema all over my skin. My hair was falling
Oh
out in
my
clumps.
goodness.
And so I knew that I was terribly misaligned and displaced with where I was at. And
Mm,
so on a vacation in the desert of Southern California with my parents, I started to re-experience fun and the sun and love and laughter and joy, something that had been missing from my life. But as my vacation was coming to a close, I began to feel this overwhelming sense of impending doom,
mm,
knowing that I was going to have to return to my life in hell. And on one morning, I was just compelled to run to the top of this mountain behind their house. And as I was running toward the mountain, tears were streaming down my face. I thought maybe I could just escape my fate if I kept running. And then at the top of this mountain, I just threw my arms up and I said, I am miserable in the extreme and see no way out. And in that moment,
mm.
I felt this total sense of calm wash over me, like the air around me was embracing me. And I heard this voice resonate within me and all around me. And it said, "Can't you see you've come home? You will stay
Wow.
here and heal yourself and many others." And in that moment, I felt spontaneously healed. And all of the anxiety and depression was replaced by excitement and enthusiasm over my new life in the desert as a healer. And for the next 2 weeks, I felt like I was following the energy as I was being
Mm,
guided to do this and that. And in divine synchronicity, all of these things started falling into place for me to start my new life in the desert as a healer. And so I did. I left my life on the East Coast. I moved to the desert, opened a wellness center. And just like the voice said I would, I stayed there and healed myself and many others. I feel at that
wow.
point, I was merged with my higher self.
Mm, mm. That's beautiful. So when you speak about synchronicity, somewhere you were actually believing in your gut feeling, in your intuition, and you were definitely going with what the universe was trying to show you. So it was like a coherence of your mind and your heart along with the higher self.
Beautifully expressed. Thank you for that.
I, I mean, so the moment I feel you must have let go of whatever the anxiety or the suffering or the pain, the human suffering that we go through due to various issues, whether it's at work, whether money, family, blah blah blah. The moment maybe you let go of that part that you don't want to go back to that again, that life, and you let go and you gave your heart out to the universe, I guess that's when the synchronicity happened, and that's when you came along into a flow, and then there's no looking back after that.
Yes, thank you. I really felt in that moment that I had reached my wits' end and I
Mm,
was giving it up to the universe. I surrendered to whatever higher guidance might come through, and I
mm,
was blessed by this divine guidance. And I've never looked back. I've been in the field of health and wellness ever since. And it's truly been a huge blessing in my life
mm.
to be able to be in service to others, to enhance the health and well being of others.
Beautiful. So, Susan, if you can remember, what was the feeling when you actually let it go and you just trusted the universe? Do you remember that feeling, that sense of calmness or peace that must have transpired through you? What was the feeling, if you remember, through all that anxiety when you let it go?
Yes, it was an unfamiliar feeling because in my life up to that point, I felt like I had to be in control of every moment of every day. And I was so attached to my ego identity. And I had never even explored anything to do with spirituality. My family wasn't spiritual or religious. And
Mm,
so when I was compelled to run to the top of this mountain, I just fell to my knees. And when
wow.
I did and I surrendered, the feeling of this brilliant, radiant light all around me just was pure love and compassion for my
Mm,
soul. And I knew I was being connected to this source of infinite
mm,
love. And that's what healed me. And then I felt as if something within me was awakened. What I might call my higher self was awakened. And I knew in a moment that anything was possible and that this infinite love would continue to flow through me and inspire and empower me. And from that point on, I was being called to also radiate love and compassion to others in every way possible.
wow. How beautiful is that? Wow. If every human understands that there is only one thing to remember is pure love, nothing else goes beyond that, life would be so different for all of us.
Certainly would be. Love is the most powerful force in the universe, right?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And it's so misconstrued so many times. I mean, people take it so lightly. They don't understand the depth of it, or they don't understand that it's not only romantic love that we're talking about. It's a love which actually takes the humanity together, being one, the feeling of oneness.
Yes, certainly. That profound sense of oneness that you experience when you're out in nature, when you're with your loved ones. I have found that nature is the place where I get my most powerful spiritual experiences. I
Nice.
love to connect with the life force of all living things and beings out in nature. And then you come to realize that that same life force that's illuminating all of these living things and beings is the same life force that's animating my spirit. And then you get this profound sense of connection and oneness with all that is. And then I came to realize that you can experience that with other people too. When you begin to realize that God is experiencing through us as us. And so when you're looking into the eyes of someone else like yourself, I'm looking at God and God is looking back at me. And so when you start to realize that, again, there's this sense of oneness, knowing that we're all loving from the same divine source. And that is what's most important, is to recognize that oneness, we are one.
So true. So true. And the interconnectedness of each one of us. Wonderful. So that brings us to the next question, Susan. A critical one, actually. When a person gets in touch with his higher self, does he shed all his negative aspects, or does he embrace the negatives as well?
That's a great question. Yes, and so we're all a work in progress.
Absolutely.
And so,
Absolutely.
you know, awakening to your higher self is step one, right?
Yeah,
And
true.
then you go through a process of the shadow work, being dedicated to the light and the love every day with compassion and patience and understanding. But I believe this is the point of my book, Wake Up,
Hmm.
is that when you awaken, you start this process of self exploration. And
Hmm.
so in this book, I designed a process where you can reflect on experiences you've had in your lifetime that are memorable for you. And you can go back and identify the causes, what caused this event to happen, and what were the
Hmm.
effects that it had on myself and others. And in doing so, the life lessons become perfectly clear. And then you can apply them to your life today. And I call it intentionally creating meaningful experiences that incorporate your life lessons so you can consciously evolve toward more enlightened ones. Along the way, you're identifying those negative emotions that you're still hanging on to related to these experiences that have unfolded throughout your life. And you have the opportunity then to transmute those shadows into light. I do a lot of work with the chakras,
The seven
identifying shadows,
chakras. Yes.
blockages, right, that are seated on these different chakras. And
Yeah.
once you can purify and cleanse these chakras, some of those negative shadow energies can just be dissolved without having to
Hmm.
necessarily work through them. And so between, balancing the karma and embracing the positive aspects of these experiences, letting go of the negative, you start to shine brighter and brighter. And then there's a witnessing where you come to be the observer of your thoughts, words, and actions. And I created a technique called redirect. And
Correct.
so
Yes.
it's a matter of, recognizing a thought and noticing, where did that come from? Because it's not coming from a place of love. It's coming from a place of
Mm,
fear, judgment, insecurity, resentment, blame, shame, guilt, whatever it is. That thought arises, and I notice it, and then I redirect it. And just
mm,
redirecting it back into love and compassion and patience and understanding for myself and others. And this process of redirecting is really powerful, because the more you do it, the more you naturally have compassionate, loving thoughts arise in your mind, and less of the negative thoughts. And so, of course, like I said, we're a work in progress. It's a daily effort, but it's a very important one to
mm.
embrace this life with more positivity and to help you shine your light brighter.
Right, right. So true, so beautifully shared. Like in the earlier part of our interview, you mentioned about you shed your ego and you just knelt down and you let go of the universe. So when we go through this process of redirect, many a times maybe our own ego must be coming and must be stopping us. Ki, have you lost your mind? Why are you behaving in this new manner? And how, why, the negativity that we have, or the negative aspect, the yin and yang that each one of us has, that's it's so difficult at times to overpower or embrace the negative side of ourselves. What do we do at that point of time? Because many times, even if you know consciously, when you're aware that this is what you want to create, the new you, at times, because of our tendencies, we are unable to do so. And the negative aspect or the not so positive aspect of ours overpowers the new us that we're trying to create. So, how does one manage to do that?
Breathe. Right? I do a lot of
Right.
breathing. Yes, so honestly, though, take a nice deep breath and drop into your
Mm,
heart. And in
mm,
doing so, just imagine expanding your heart and trying
mm,
to understand that we are all doing the very best that we can, whether what
mhm,
has arisen in your mind is judgment toward yourself or toward another, to let it go. And sometimes I'll just say, let it go, let it go, let it go, let it go. And the deeper I move into my heart and expand my heart, the more I can understand where I'm coming from and why I'm coming from that place, or why the other
mm,
person may be coming from that place. And then just to have compassion for myself and any other. And in doing that, I find that I become much more calmer. Whatever it was that was arising in my mind is replaced by that patience and compassion and understanding and love. And when I move into that
mm.
space, if what has arisen involves another, it's amazing the transformation in the other too, when I respond with loving kindness.
Right. So the point being just to breathe when you're going through that struggle of following the true self of the love and the unity and the oneness. That's so right. I mean, if we just stop that moment of friction and just breathe deeply, I feel so many things would be sorted at that moment itself. Thank you so much for sharing that. The viewers definitely will understand breathing, which is the most basic that we each human need to do, is so important.
And I check myself up sometimes too. It's like, think before you speak.
Mm,
You know, like something may arise in my mind that I think I would like to say. And if I know it doesn't serve the highest good for myself or the other, I let it go. I just say to myself, I
mm,
don't need to say that. Just let it go. Just let
Hmm.
it be.
Hmm.
Say something kind. Just, yeah, take the high road.
Yes.
Take the high road.
And for a matter of fact, if we don't, I've read this so many times, so many places. If you don't have anything value creating to be said, anything good to be said, you rather keep your mouth zipped up. You know, that's a better way of controlling your own emotions. You could actually, like we spoke about karma, you can actually transform your karma by not saying something ferocious or something which would make somebody feel bad, or it might increase the anger, might just provoke somebody. It's better to keep your mouth zipped up and keep working on your heart and your mind that,
Yeah.
okay, I need to control myself or change or transform.
Silence is golden.
Yes, so true.
If you think about, these masters, right? These
Hmm.
beautiful masters, and they're seated in meditation, and the only
Hmm.
things that come out of their mouth are words of wisdom, but you don't see them chattering on about meaningless things all the time.
Right.
It's not like we constantly talk and share everything that pops into our mind, right? We can dedicate ourselves to speaking words of wisdom with compassion and kindness.
Exactly. It's a similar example when you see a swan or a duck in a pond, or a small lake. You just look at them, they're so serene and so peaceful. But the way they're flapping their feet beneath the water, you don't see that. Similarly, if we can control this mind of ours and be at peace, uh, the life would be so much different, so much deeper and profound. Let the chatter go on, but you're in control of that chatter.
That is a wonderful analogy. Thank you for that.
Thank
No
you.
matter what's going on underneath the water, right? The appearance is so calm and peaceful. And then the more that you focus on having that calm and peaceful appearance, the more it becomes your natural state of being.
So true. So true. I mean, there's this. I'm an actor by profession, so a lot of Hollywood stars, or the media people, they say, "Fake it till you make it." Whatever it
Yeah.
is, whether you're feeling confident during whatever. So even this, keep thinking that, okay, you are peace, you are at peace, you're syncing yourself to the source. Keep saying it, keep doing it, and sooner or later we'll realize, oh, I'm actually in sync. The mind, body, and soul is in sync with the source.
Yes, I love that saying, and I have said that before too. It's like fake it till you make it, right? I used to be in the service industry long,
Hmm.
long ago, and I was a manager for a retail store. And if one of my employees came in grumpy, I would say, "Hey, you got to go out on that sales floor with a big smile on your face. Fake it till you make it." And within an
Right.
hour, that smile would become happiness,
Contagious. Yeah.
and their grumpy mood would disappear, and they'd feel happy because they were just smiling, and they were getting, a positive response from the customers. And pretty soon their bad mood had changed into a good mood. They faked it till they made it.
Exactly. And the same thing which you said a while back, when you internally change, automatically you'll see a change in the external environment. So if you become happy, and that smile, when you would tell your juniors, and then within an hour, everything would be changed.
Yes.
Wonderful. That brings us to the next question, Susan. What, according to you, is the most important thing in a relationship? Is it emotional connection, monetary situation is important, or the physical aspect of a relationship? Which is the most important?
You ask great questions. Well, certainly
It's the
the
team.
emotional.
The team works on the questions really hard.
Wonderful questions. Well,
Thank you.
clearly the emotional connection is the foundation. You know, you can have the physical attraction and the lust, and, that's wonderful too. But if you don't have the emotional connection as the foundation, that will be short lived.
Mm,
And the emotional connection, I've been married very happily to the love of my life for 25 years. So hopefully I have
beautiful.
some
Bless you
insight
both.
around
Definitely.
um, it's definitely the emotional connection, and it's the emotional connection too that keeps the fire burning brightly for the physical attraction as well. And
True.
as far as monetary, we have a beautiful home and nice cars and what have you, but I tell my husband, I would live with you in a tent under a tree. If it came down to it. Of course,
Wow.
that I'm not holding that vision. I like my creature comforts,
True. True.
but at the same time, you know, our marriage has nothing to do with what he can provide for me or what I can provide for him. It's, the love that we have for one another. And that is what drives us to be a better person every day, not just for
Mm,
ourselves, but for each other.
mm,
And, this sincere desire to want to provide beautiful things for one another, precious gifts that may have monetary value, but more than that, it's the love that inspired us to want to provide these things for one another.
wow. Beautiful. If I can say, you're the best buddies to each other, the best of friends towards each other. And that's where the spark, the love, the emotion has always kept going stronger and stronger, getting stronger and stronger for 25 years.
Yes, it has. Definitely my best friend and confidant, as well as my lover and my provider. And yes,
Yes.
all of the above. It's definitely a strong
Beautiful.
commitment. I mean, we feel blessed to have met the love of our life, which is what we always call each other.
Right.
And I just want to inspire everyone, whether you are with the love of your life or not, that it's out there for everyone. And when I met the love of my life is when I had the divine intervention on the mountaintop and I had totally surrendered my ego to spirit. And when I was
Mm,
flowing in that divine synchronicity, that higher consciousness state, I naturally attracted that love into my life because I was radiating so much love and gratitude that I naturally attracted that into my
wow.
life. And so I think that when you're in that higher state,
Mm,
that you do attract an abundance of everything:
true.
love,
True.
prosperity, peace, joy, harmony.
So true, so true. It's like when we spoke about each one of us being a work in progress, himself or herself. I mean, this applies to me as well. I'm still in a process to find the love of my life. So I guess I need to keep having a lot of gratitude, keep having a lot of love, and keep working on it. Not that it is not there, but as you rightly said, the more you're exuberant with love, with the qualities of gratitude and well-being towards your own self, you automatically start attracting that. And things are happening in terms of when I look at how work is transpiring, how I'm meeting different people when it comes to work, beautiful people, good people, and I'm attracting all of that since the last couple of months, especially after the pandemic, everything was shut down. So now things are opening up, and I can see that because I've been working on myself more. Thankfully, this channel starting off, You Are Invincible, was sometime mid last year, and it was a reminder to me to get back to the roots, to connect to the higher self, and give out to the people. So yes, your guidance is straight at me to keep giving out more love, keep giving out, keep having the feelings of gratitude. So thank you so much for reminding me that again. So yes.
And being consciously aware in every
Mm,
moment of every day of the synchronistic
mm,
interactions, right? It's like chance meetings. And if you're looking at your phone, if you're staring into your iPad, what have you, and you're not out and about with your ears and eyes wide open, openly interacting with those
mm.
around you, you may miss important encounters. So
True,
just
true.
being present, being very present. And when I go out into the
Yes.
world, I put my phone away and I don't leave it on me because I don't want the radiation.
Right.
My phone in the car, and I go out and about with this sort of openness that invites people to interact with me. And I
Mm,
smile, nod at other people. I try to inspire conversation. Um, I want to make people feel like they can connect with me. And I also want to share joy
yes.
and sometimes humor and just lighten the mood of others. And when I'm just out and about, so interactive, you meet people and conversations start up,
Yes.
and suddenly you're sharing business cards, or you're discovering that you have so much in common, and now you're collaborating with them in ways that benefit you both. And but if you walk around like this all day staring into your phone, you're going to miss that. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's so true. Being present and being right here, right now is so much important. That's how you connect yourself further, deeper to your own self, and you connect to the source and everything else. Because when you're connected to the higher self and to the source, your brain starts to work towards what you really want, and you get beyond that as well. This I've experienced myself because you're so aware, you're so alert, you know exactly what's going on. You can visualize, you can manifest, and you feel so much in sync because you get signs from the universe that you're on the right path. Whether it's through a message that just crops up from a LinkedIn, or if you're just going through that, or whether it's a message you see it on a post somewhere, or it's a sign outside your window, something, a bird or a caterpillar or a butterfly. The more we become aware, like very quickly I'll share, like when I was driving, this is about 2 weeks back, on my way back home, there's huge traffic and bumper to bumper, and I was just looking outside. It was a nice, bright, sunny day. All of a sudden, I see a butterfly right in front of my windscreen. And trust me, Susan, there were cars on the left and right. So this is India, this is Mumbai, where the cars and the two-wheelers, the three-wheelers, they are all over you. Everybody wants to go ahead. Nobody is obeying the rules of traffic. So there were cars all around. The butterfly is only in front of my windscreen, hovering over there for literally 2 to 2.5 minutes, because the car was at a
Wow.
standstill. It did not go to any other car, any other bike. There were cars and bikes like half a feet on either side of my car. And I was like, I just looked up, I'm looking at the butterfly, and I'm like, wow, this is the sign from the universe. I just keep smiling. The life is beautiful. It's wonderful. You're on the right path. Like these small things, if I was not connected or present, I would just be like, ah, whatever. It's just an insect, it's just, yeah, whatever. And I would have just like, what the hell, traffic, and I need to reach fast. And how the mind starts to work. But if we are connected, it is so easy to see the signs from the universe that it has your back and it is supporting you.
Thank you for sharing that. It's so beautiful. Boy, the living things and beings in nature, right? It's so fascinating, the connection that we
Yes.
have with them and they have with us, and these little spirit beings can bless us in such beautiful ways. Where I sit at my desk here
Mm-hmm.
is right up against a window, and there's a
Mm-hmm.
tree, and sometimes I'll be sitting here and I'll get blocked or frustrated about something, and the most beautiful bluebird or red robin will land right in a
Wow.
branch that,
Wow.
I can clearly see it. And in that moment, you know, I just feel such gratitude. And I then feel so blessed. And I
Yes.
remember instantly all of the beautiful blessings in my life. And then I'm
It's
inspired
like
once again.
exactly. It's like the universe giving us a knock, knock, knock. Susan, you there? Everything is great. Just look at me. We're here. The universe supporting us. So that's like a gentle reminder from the universe that everything is fantastic. Just keep going ahead.
Yes, definitely. I had an interesting encounter with a vulture a couple weeks ago. I was
Wow.
hiking and I came around this corner where I go down a hill to my Stargate
Mm-hmm.
that I built. And on the fence, there was this giant vulture, right? And
Wow.
I at first was taken
You got
aback and
scared.
I kind of,
Yeah.
right? And I'm like, is he going to peck my eyes out? And then I thought, no, I'm not going to move into fear. I'm going to
Hmm.
move into love. And so I started communicating to this vulture. You are magnificent. Look at you. You're such an amazing creature. Thank you for coming across my path. And he fluffed his feathers and looked back at me and like, he
Wow.
was so proud of being so magnificent. And
Exactly.
then I continued down my walk. And it was interesting because I had put crystals on my Stargate, and then someone had came and stole the crystals. And I
Oh.
thought, well, that's not very good karma. And so I decided that the vulture was like my guardian, the guardian of my
Yes.
gateway down to my
Probably.
Stargate,
Wow. Beautiful. That's amazing.
scaring off the
That's so
crystal
beautiful.
stealer.
And vultures are huge. They are not small creatures. They're huge.
Huge. Magnificent. Gatekeepers,
Yes.
right? He was my guardian.
Yes. Yes. And while maybe just fluffing and flying away, he was just looking at you, and maybe he said a thank you to acknowledge him that you didn't get scared and you gave him back the love that he needed. Maybe, you never know. I'm just talking it out aloud.
Yes, absolutely. I've connected with many birds on my nature walks. Big
Hmm.
egrets along the stream, and I write about it in my book. I call these egrets angel
Yes.
birds because
Yes.
they're
Yes.
probably 3 feet tall, right?
True.
And they would land, 10 feet away from me. And I would look right at them and send them all the love in my heart, telling them how beautiful they were and thanking them for blessing me with their presence. And they would let me get close. And then I would
Hmm.
realize that they would follow me all the way down the stream. I would look over and they would be
So
flying
beautiful.
top of the stream, even with me as I continued down my path. And then they would land right in front of me again and again. And so, I mean, I knew I had made a connection with these birds. It was beautiful.
Wow. Wow. That's amazing. I'm loving this conversation with you, Susan. Thank you so much. It's just amazing.
Thank you. I'm loving it too.
Awesome. That brings us to the next question, which is everyone is on a brink of awakening. What is your view on collective awakening?
You know what? You kind of skipped out there. Can you rephrase that
Sorry, yeah,
again?
I'll repeat. Yes. So everybody nowadays is on the brink of an awakening. What is your view on collective awakening? Like
Got
everybody
it.
awakening at the same time.
So I do believe that we are all connected. in this
Mm-hmm.
energy grid of collective consciousness. And I have
Mm-hmm.
a podcast called Transcend the Matrix, and so I
Right.
do believe there are these different matrices of consciousness. And that when those of us who are pouring love and light into the matrix intentionally, that love and light can spread throughout the entire consciousness grid. And
Mm.
one of my gurus, Wayne Dyer, who I just loved, he used to say that if one person pours love and light into the grid, that it can awaken exponentially hundreds of thousands
Mm.
of people. And so, also, I believe that right now we are in a particular place in the solar system where we
Mm-hmm.
are aligning with the center of the Milky Way galaxy. In the Hindu tradition, they believe that Brahma, or divine consciousness, flows
Mm-hmm.
through this cosmic portal. And the more that we align with that, the more that we receive these supercharged photons, these encoded photons of light that are just being poured down upon everyone on the planet right now. Whether you're
Wow.
open to receive it and allow that supercharged light to activate your golden light body, or whether you're not ready for that yet, you're going to either get off this 3D wheel and move on to the next dimension, or you're going to
Mm-hmm.
go around the wheel again. I love the yugas, and I write about it in my book, The Ages of the Yugas, because it
Yes.
shows
Yes.
on either side, right? There's the dark ages and there's the light ages.
The light
And our
ages.
system, right, is moving on this path. And we know this historically. We went from these temple building, advanced civilizations 12,500 years ago to then the dark ages, right? Where
Yes.
Attila the Hun lopping off heads and bloodletting and burning libraries, and now we can hardly build a shack with an outhouse. It's like, how do we go from there to here? And it's this
Exactly.
yuga cycle, right? We
Mm.
get further away from the Brahma flowing through the black hole as we move on the descending arc toward the dark age. And then we turn the corner, and here we proceed
Right.
on the ascending arc
Other side.
into the age
Yes.
of enlightenment, right? And that's where we're at
Yes.
now. And so that would have us just, 2021 years on the ascending arc. But I believe that we were catapulted to the age of
Mm-hmm.
enlightenment. And I love this purple book called the Bilgi Kitabi. And this
Mm-hmm.
woman, Avalana, is channeling these solar hierarchy, these brotherhoods of light. And she reveals that in 1900, the brotherhoods of light made a decision to catapult us so that 1 year equaled 1,000 years. And in 100 years, we were catapulted 10,000 years into the age of enlightenment. And they made this decision because of those beings on the planet that were planning this new world order of enslavement and entrapment, control, and their intentions and their agenda to bring in this dark energy catapulted us into the golden age of enlightenment, because our brotherhoods of light
Mm-hmm.
wanted to support those light workers, those members of humanity who wanted to ascend into a
Right.
higher dimension and
Dimension.
serve
Right.
the light selflessly so we could escape the dark agenda. Does that make sense?
Mm. Yes, yes, absolutely. It's very deep and profound, but shared very beautifully. How through the yugas, we have been able to transform so many things and been catapulted into an age of wisdom, knowledge, and enlightenment. And I feel we are very fortunate to be born in this age because we have the wisdom of seeing what is the darkness or what is the dark side of life and what is the light side of life, and which one to choose. And especially after last year, I believe a lot has changed globally in each and every one, and everybody is now seeking the wisdom to be able to reach the enlightenment of their own life. So yeah, very, very well shared, Susan. Makes so much of sense. I feel we are very blessed to be born in this day and age, to be able to see the difference also.
Yes. Isn't it beautiful when you can see the positive in everything? During the pandemic, I feel that so many of us had the opportunity of, time to reflect on those aspects of our lives that were serving our highest good and those that were not. And I know many people made a powerful transformation during this time, and people were then
Hmm.
seeking a greater meaning, a deeper purpose to life in light of the restrictions and limitations. And so I think that in many ways, it was a blessing. And so when you can see it in that way, I was talking to a friend yesterday and we were exploring this bizarre dance of light and shadow,
Hmm.
and walking this fine line. Like, you focus on all of the atrocities of the world, or do you just focus on the light? And it's like, what's the balance? Because you want to know what's happening on your planet, but at the same time, you don't want to focus too much energy on that, because then where your attention goes, energy flows, right?
Energy flows. Yeah.
Right? And so also there's then judging the reality. And so we just decided, if you have this attitude that, you know, everything is in divine timing and divine order, then
Hmm.
you don't judge that which is unfolding. You can bless it
Hmm.
and you can pray for those who are suffering. And if you're an activist, you can do something about it. However, to damn it or other people is to not see the God within all things, and to know
Hmm.
that some people who are suffering, they're taking on the suffering for others. And so they're doing a great service. And so not,
Hmm.
to curse that, or just to know that, if there are people that need rescuing, for instance, it offers the opportunity for heroes to arise, right? And to
Right.
develop this positive karma, because now they're doing heroic things.
Hmm.
And so you see, it's like all is in divine order from that
It is.
perspective.
Yes. And to say you yourself, I would call you a hero because through your life you are able to impart that kind of hope, that kind of encouragement, that kind of the seeking spirit that people are now having. You are being able to guide them to make them realize, oh, it's in you. You can have it as well. So you are a hero in yourself. So thank you so much for
Thank
continuing to
you.
be what you are.
Well, you just made my day. Thank you very much. I so
Uh,
appreciate it. And you're a hero too. Look at you with your You Are Invincible podcast out there, inspiring and empowering others, and offering your love and support. It's very
Thank you.
beautiful.
Thank you so much, Susan. Thank you. That
You're
brings us
so
to the
welcome.
next. That brings us to the next question. What should one avoid or let go of in order to reach their higher self? What should one avoid or let go in order to reach their higher self?
Labels.
Hmm.
Labels are limiting, I think. And so recognizing that we are not our body, we are not
Hmm.
our status, we are not our car, we are not our house, we are not these things that we're not even this label given to us, best-selling author, speaker, podcaster, whatever it is. It's like, that's not who we are. We're
Hmm.
a divine being. We're the
Soul, yeah,
divine
be.
spark of God. And that's
Mm.
who we are. And so letting go of recognizing the service that you're
Mm-hmm.
offering, it's like selflessly serving the light, but
Mm-hmm.
doing it out of love and sincerity and authenticity, not for fame or fortune. And if that comes, wonderful. You have a greater opportunity to
To
reach the mass,
expand it further. Yes.
right? And if you are blessed with fortune, you have the opportunity to be charitable and donate, to those in need, and to build maybe a beautiful spiritual community where people can come and find sacred sanctuary, whatever it is, but it's the intention behind it.
Mm.
And
Mm.
so again, it's kind of letting go of the ego in service to the spirit, right? I have an
Mm.
analogy. It's like, when you recognize that the ego is driving your vehicle, then you can just
Mm.
tap the ego on the shoulder and say, "Excuse me, but I'll be driving this vehicle now. You can sit in the back seat," because I know that I need my ego identity, my name, so people know what to call me.
Mm.
But, you're not going to be driving the vehicle.
Wow, that's so beautiful. And the labels, wow, amazing. That's so deep. If you look at it, it's really deep to avoid labels that we have for ourselves. Wow, wonderful, Susan. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that.
Oh, you're
That
so
brings us
welcome.
that brings us to the next question. How should one remain calm and collected while dealing with unpleasant or negative situations? I know you said breathe. That was one of the aspects which you had mentioned. But many times, maybe the situation is so dire that even if we breathe or try to tell our mind to be calm, it's really difficult. So, what should one do in such a unpleasant situation or a negative situation?
Yes. So what comes to mind for me is to let go of fear, have
Mm,
trust and faith in the divine, have faith in the spiritual meaning and purpose behind this dire situation. It's interesting because I've been in like crisis situations before, and
mm-hmm,
suddenly this total sense of calm washes over me. And it's like, I'll tend to take charge of the situation. Okay, you call 911, you do this, I'll do that. But I think letting go of the fear of dying, for one,
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
is very powerful. I love to watch stories of near death experiences. And these people step into the most beautiful, radiant, loving light. And they're embraced by this light. And they meet angels and deities and even past loved ones. And they want to stay there. But then someone tells them they have to go
go
back.
back.
Right? They don't want to go back because it's so beautiful over there, and they become omniscient. They can see
Mm,
everything that's happening. They can see their body. They can see their loved ones. They become part of the
yeah,
greater field of consciousness, right? And so
right.
that alleviates the fear of dying for me, and also others dying as well, knowing
Mm,
that, gosh, I mean, they're going to this greater place, this brilliant light, and they're going to meet God and realize they're God. So I think letting go of the fear and just sort of
mm,
transcending the situation and holding the space for others.
mm,
The more we move into spiritual mastery and we really do live from that place of love and compassion, the more we set
mm,
ourselves aside and our own anxieties and fear, and
mhm,
we hold the calm space for others so that they are
mm,
moved into a place of faith and trust and love rather than fear. And so we
Mm,
can provide
mm.
comfort for others. And maybe just in providing comfort for others, we'll move into that space more ourselves too.
True, true. Wow. For a moment, I actually, um, I was actually mesmerized with whatever you said right now because it makes so much of profound sense to be able to let go of that fear because I guess that's one of the most common and biggest hindrance that each one of us at large faces, whatever crisis happens. But if we let go of that fear and just trust and have that heart of trust, love, and that feeling that it's okay, and just to move forward from there, that would take care of the entire crisis, whatever situation it is. So important to let go of that fear. That's one of the most not so good virtues that we have in our life, most of us at certain times. But it's so important to uh, look at it from the fearless aspect of what could go wrong. You can only become stronger, or you could only become, uh, you could overcome it because you would evolve further as a person, whether it is in this dimension or, as rightly said, if we pass and go to the other dimension, it's going to be a much beautiful place. It's
Yeah.
amazing to have that fear gone away in our daily life also.
Yes. Absolutely. And you hear stories about perpetrators, coming to rob a bank or coming to break into your house, and the person on the other
Mm,
side says, "What can I do for you? How can I help you? What is it you want from me? I love you
mm,
and I want to support you in whatever it is you need. If you need all of my furniture, I'll help you load it into your truck. In fact, I'll load it into my
mm,
truck and I'll follow you wherever you want to take it." Or, the person at the bank saying, "I love you and God loves you. And if you need this money, I'm happy to give it to you." And in
mm.
these moments, you'll hear about the person just breaking down and sobbing
Yeah,
and
yeah.
apologizing, just being so thankful that this person is expressing love towards them rather than fear. And so, I mean, love conquers all, certainly.
Mm,
Love is the most powerful force in the universe. And when we live from that place of love every moment of every day, we'll just be ascended
mm.
into this higher way of living and being with ourselves and others.
Absolutely, absolutely. Wonderful, Susan. Thank you for again sharing. So many things you're sharing which are really profound, which are so practical and which is so achievable in spite of living in today's day and age, which is like you're a lotus flower, you're living in a muddy, mucky pond or a lake, but you have the essence in you to blossom, to glow, and to give that light to the people around you.
Aw, thank you for that. That's all I want for all of my brothers and sisters on this planet. I dearly love humanity. I love
Mm,
everyone on this earth. I love everyone in all of creation. And I
wonderful.
just bless everyone every day. And I just want all to experience peace and joy and harmony with one another on this beautiful planet we all call home.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
Thank you so much
That's
for today. I apologize, but I must go. But this has been such an incredible pleasure and delight. I hope to stay connected.
for sure, for sure. So before we leave, Susan, what would you like to tell the viewers for 2021? What are your viewers? Please share with them.
We are in the age of Aquarius, my friends. We are being showered with so much love from the cosmos. And so open to receive that. This is the age of freedom and
Mm,
liberation. Step into your power, step into your sovereign right to embrace life, enjoy liberty, and pursue happiness. And don't allow anyone to limit all that you can be. Rise above, question authority. Together, we can create a new earth where there is unity. We can rise above this agenda of separation and fear. We can move into a place of knowing that together, if we co-create a new earth, it'll be all about love and unity. Together we can. And so let's join forces and rise above this fear, separation matrix and create our own new matrix, the divine holy matrix, where we can experience a higher dimensional way of living and being together, hand in hand, heart to heart. I love you all so very much, and I send you many, many blessings.
That's a spectacular message, Susan. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So, viewers, if you want to get in touch with Susan, you can get in touch on her website, SusanRossWellness.com. It is given right on the ticker here. So, thank you, Susan, for being a part of our channel. It was a beautiful conversation. You have a magnanimous and a very kind heart. Thank you so much, Susan. We will definitely stay connected for more such endeavors. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm so honored. Bless you.
Thank
Enjoy
you.
a beautiful
Namaste
day.
from India. Yes, thank you. Bye bye.
Namaste.
Yeah.
Bye.